Your lead host is the Great Lakes International Trade and Transport Hub, or GLITH. GLITH is a communication network maintained by the #1 supply chain school in the nation and probably the world, as many of us here on campus say. Michigan State University is the #1 supply chain school for undergraduates and graduates. So we're quite proud of that. They've just come out with the new ratings, and we have about 7 programs that were at the very top of our range. And we mix it up a little bit with our friends down in Ann Arbor with University of Michigan. So you're in a great place to kick off this autonomous vehicles conversation. We're also the longest serving Canadian Studies Center. So the Supply Chain Department and Canadian Studies Center have been working together for about 5 or 6 years now to talk about things related to trade and transportation. So many people have said to me, why is Canadian Studies having this conversation? And it's pretty quick that they get it, that the roads, the trucks do not stop there at the border. It's supposed to be a continuous roadway and a seamless pattern of traffic across that border. Our trade is magnificent here in Michigan, so we're at the intersection of a great deal of trade. We matter. Michigan matters and the U.S. matters to Canada, and they matter to us. So the program that you're a part of today, Autonomous Vehicles, where research and innovation hit the road, is provided actually in partnership. And all things that we do are in partnership. Some of our partners include, obviously, if you look at our agenda, the College of Engineering. The College of Engineering is taking great leaps, and you'll hear more about that in terms of autonomous vehicles. The University of Outreach and Engagement, Arnold Weinfeld, is here with us today, and we've been partnering on a few things over the years, and you make a great partner, Arnold. I'm glad to have you here. The Institute for Public Policy and Social Research and the College of Social Sciences is another key sponsor, and that's our link to the policy community. We do a number of programs through IPSR, downtown with legislators, and we help them to explain to their constituents why they're making the decisions they're making, sometimes. Also with us is Michigan Municipal League. So we have Murph with us, Richard Murphy, and he's going to be speaking later. They just finished their big conference, a statewide conference, where they talked with communities about what are your big concerns about infrastructure, about community planning, and autonomous vehicles. What kinds of information can we help you with? What kinds of information do you need so that we can work together well? And then finally, Michigan Department of Transportation. I think everyone in the room knows the leadership role they've played nationally and, quite frankly, internationally on this and other issues. So all of these folks are represented in our audience today, and perhaps you've met a few. On behalf of GLITH and our partners, I want to extend a special thanks to Arnold, of course, from the University of Outreach and Engagement. He really grabbed onto this idea and pushed to help it happen, along with Jim Kern of Karub Associates, and he's in the back of the room. Tejas Desai of Autonomous Vehicles LLC has been a real leader in putting this together, along with Brad Jackson. He's in the back of the room as well, point blank. They know where to hide. There you are. We see transportation and cities are about to be revolutionized with autonomous vehicles at center stage. We know that, and that's probably why you're here today. As research and the tech world and the automobile industry become more entwined, state governments and community planners are looking to them to help address the potential impacts. I just had this conversation at lunch. There are so many questions, and the questions are related to the very basic definition of autonomous vehicles, the insurance and liability issues, along with licensing and registration, vehicle testing, and driver capability. The list goes on. So hopefully we can, and I know we will, address some of those questions today. Michigan and the Great Lakes region is a happening place for addressing these questions about connectivity between the AV and the community infrastructure and city planning, risk and liability. We have some of the key voices in thinking through these questions today. Every one of our speakers have really stepped up to be here and share what they know and what they see happening in their research and their practice across the states. Innovators, business leaders, policymakers, and city planners understand that unless we and policy leaders have a general understanding of autonomous technologies, we'll never trust to use them. So we want to spread this information and spread it widely. As more information about these technologies is unleashed, more and more states are enacting or considering related legislation. 20 states introduced related laws varying in scope in 2016, and since 2012, 34 states have considered legislation. We are moving fast, and that is how our agenda will be moving today. So you have extensive introductions in your packets. Our introduction of speakers here will be brief for the sake of time, but please do browse those bio sketches through the day, which you definitely have found your new network. We want you to continue your lunch, continue your dessert, and if you're not finished. And we also want you to find cards in the middle of your table. If you have questions for the speakers and you'd like to jot those down, please do. Again, for the sake of time, and actually our taping here today, we ask that you hold your questions to the very end after the presenters. We're going to begin our discussion with a few key speakers representing the research and industry sectors to provide an introduction to where we are today. And then later on in the afternoon, we'll move to panels. So for now, let me take the pleasure of introducing John Verbancourt. John is the Associate Dean for Research at the College of Engineering here at Michigan State. He's also a professor of electrical and computer engineering and a professor of computational mathematics, science, and engineering. Mathematics is key. So it's a pleasure to have you with us today. He's also taking the lead on autonomous vehicular research at the College of Engineering. So you're all.